My mother told my deployed husband I was cheating with fake photos she made using AI, said he deserved to know the truth, then he filed for divorce from overseas. Now she's crying because he found out and is suing her. I'm never speaking to her again. My mother sent my deployed husband AI-generated photos of me in bed with another man, and now he's suing her for $75,000. I found out when my husband's lawyer contacted me 3 weeks ago. I hadn't heard from him in 2 months. Radio silence. Our calls went from every other day to nothing, and I thought maybe the deployment got more intense or he was mad about something stupid I said. Then I get an email from a lawyer in Virginia telling me I'm being served divorce papers and that my husband has evidence of infidelity provided by a concerned family member. I called my mom immediately. What the hell did you do? She tried to play dumb at first. Said she didn't know what I was talking about. But I could hear it in her voice, that little crack that meant she was lying. I pushed harder and she finally admitted she sent him some photos because she was worried about me spending so much time with Derek from my gym. Derek is gay. He's married to a man named Paul. They have a dog named Pickles. My mother has met them both at our house for dinner. I asked her what photos. She said she had someone help her create images that showed what she thought was happening. When I asked who helped her, she said she used one of those apps, and it only took her a few tries to make them look real enough. She made fake porn of me using AI and sent it to my husband while he was deployed overseas. The photos showed me in our bedroom, in our actual bed with our actual sheets, with some random man's body that the AI generated. She told him she came by to drop off groceries and found us. She included details about what time of day it was, what I was supposedly wearing before, how she couldn't believe her own daughter would do this to such a good man. She even faked text message screenshots between me and this fictional person. My husband believed her completely. He filed for divorce within a week. Didn't ask me a single question, didn't give me a chance to explain. Just had his lawyer draw up papers and sent them through official channels. He told his entire unit that his wife was cheating. Told his family. Told our friends. Everyone knew before I did. I only found out the truth when his lawyer asked for my phone records as part of the divorce discovery. I handed everything over immediately because I had nothing to hide. No deleted messages, no suspicious contacts, nothing. My lawyer started digging into my mother's evidence and found metadata that proved the images were AI-generated. Created on her iPad, on her Wi-Fi network, using an app she paid $40 a month for. When confronted, the app company confirmed her account and provided timestamps. She'd spent hours generating different versions until she got ones that looked convincing enough. My husband called me for the first time in 2 months after his lawyer told him. He was crying so hard I could barely understand him. He kept saying, "I'm so sorry," and "I wanted to die when I saw those photos," and "I told everyone you betrayed me." He's been in therapy since he found out. The divorce is withdrawn, but he's still deployed for another 4 months, and now he has to live with the fact that he threw away our marriage over fake photos his mother-in-law created. He's suing her for intentional infliction of emotional distress, defamation, and fraud. His lawyer says they have a strong case because she knowingly created false evidence and distributed it with the intent to destroy our marriage. The $75,000 is for his therapy costs, legal fees, and damages to his reputation and mental health. My mother is hysterical. She calls me every day crying about how she didn't mean for it to go this far, and she was just trying to protect him, and "You were spending so much time with Derek, what was I supposed to think?" She wants me to convince my husband to drop the lawsuit. She says she can't afford it, she'll lose her house, it will ruin her life. I told her she should have thought about that before she made pornographic images of her own daughter to destroy her marriage. She showed up at my house yesterday with my aunt and my grandmother. They all stood on my porch telling me I need to be the bigger person, and "She's still your mother," and "Family forgives family." My grandmother actually said she made a mistake out of love. I asked my grandmother if she thought making AI porn of me was love. She didn't have an answer for that. My aunt said I'm being cruel by letting my husband sue her. That my mother is sick with worry and hasn't slept in weeks, and I should care about that. I told her my husband hasn't slept either because he spent 2 months thinking his wife betrayed him while he was in a combat zone, unable to do anything about it. I told her he had suicidal thoughts. I told her my mother did that on purpose. They left after that, but my phone hasn't stopped. Cousins I haven't talked to in years are messaging me saying I'm tearing the family apart. My uncle called to say I'm being vindictive. Even my dad, who divorced my mom 10 years ago, called to say maybe I should let this go for everyone's sake. But I can't let it go. She didn't accidentally send a bad text or share gossip she heard. She sat down, paid money for an app, spent hours creating fake pornographic images of her own daughter, wrote detailed lies about catching me in the act, fake text messages, and sent it all to my husband knowing exactly what it would do. She wanted to destroy my marriage. She succeeded for 2 months. My husband might never be the same. He's having nightmares. He can't trust his own judgment anymore because he believed those photos so completely. His relationship with his unit is damaged because they all know he accused his faithful wife of cheating based on fake evidence. And my mother thinks she deserves forgiveness because she's family, and she's sorry. I told her I'm never speaking to her again. I blocked her number. I blocked my aunt and my grandmother and every single person who's called to defend her. My husband is moving forward with the lawsuit and I'm supporting him completely. But my family is acting like I'm the villain here. Like I'm choosing my husband over my mother and that makes me a bad daughter. Like her losing her house is worse than what she did to both of us. Am I a butthole for refusing to forgive my mother and supporting my husband's lawsuit even though it might financially destroy her? My husband's lawsuit against my mother just got worse because she tried to blackmail him into dropping it. His lawyer called me yesterday morning. My mother hired a private investigator to follow my husband when he came home on emergency leave last week. She has photos of him having coffee with his female colleague from the base, and she sent them to his lawyer with a note saying she'd expose his affair unless he dropped the lawsuit. The colleague is his therapist's referral partner who's helping him process the trauma. They met in a public Starbucks at 10 a.m. My mother is calling it proof that he's a hypocrite. His lawyer forwarded me everything. The photos show them sitting across from each other at a table with laptops open. You can literally see the professional documents spread out between them. But my mother's note describes it as a romantic coffee date and says she has multiple witnesses who will testify they looked intimate. She gave him 48 hours to drop the suit or she'd send the photos to his commanding officer and claim he's been having an affair the whole time. I called her immediately. She answered on the first ring like she was waiting for it. "You need to tell him to stop this," she said before I could even speak. "I have proof now. He's not innocent either. You photographed him having a work meeting and you're calling it an affair? I saw how they looked at each other. I know what I saw. You created fake porn of me using AI. You don't get to tell anyone what you saw." She started crying then. The same crying she's been doing for weeks, that hitching sob that used to make me feel guilty when I was a kid. "I was trying to protect him from you. And now he's trying to destroy me. Someone needs to make him see reason. You committed fraud. You're being sued for it. Taking pictures of him having coffee doesn't change that. I'll tell everyone the truth about you and Derek. I'll tell them what I really saw. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. You didn't see anything because nothing happened. Derek is married to a man. People can be bisexual. I'll say I saw things. I'll get Derek to admit it. Derek will laugh in your face. Then I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are. The kind who turns her own mother into the courts. Who chooses a man over her own blood." I hung up. Then I called my husband's lawyer and told her everything. She said this was the best thing that could have happened for their case because now they have evidence of attempted extortion and witness tampering. She's adding it to the lawsuit and filing a police report. My husband called me an hour later. He sounded exhausted. "I'm sorry she's doing this to you." "You're sorry? She's trying to blackmail you. She's your mom. I know this has to hurt. It does hurt, but not the way he thinks. It hurts because I keep waiting for her to act like a mother and she keeps proving she never will. Even my dad called after he heard, and he never calls. He told me my mother came to his house last week and begged him to talk to me. When he refused, she threatened to report him for tax fraud from when they were married. He had to remind her that she signed all those returns too. "She's spiraling," he said. "I've seen her like this before. She can't accept consequences, so she tries to burn everything down." The police came to my house yesterday afternoon to take my statement about the blackmail attempt. 2 officers sat in my living room and asked me to describe my relationship with my mother. I had to explain the whole thing from the beginning. The AI, photos, the lawsuit, the family pressure, and now this. One of them kept shaking his head like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. "She really created fake images of you?" the younger officer asked. "Pornographic images." "Yes. And sent them to your deployed husband." Yes. And now she's trying to blackmail him with pictures of a work meeting. When you say it out loud like that, it sounds insane. But that's exactly what happened. They took copies of everything. The photos she sent, her threatening note, the timeline of events. They said they'd be in touch and that I should document any further contact from her or my family members. The older officer told me to consider a restraining order if she shows up at my house again. After they left, I sat on my couch and stared at my phone for an hour. I have 47 unread messages from family members. Most of them are some version of, "How could you do this to her?" or "She's going to jail because of you," or "You've destroyed this family." My cousin sent me a long message about how my mother is having panic attacks and can't eat and I'm being cruel by not stopping this. But I didn't create AI porn of myself. I didn't send it to anyone. I didn't try to destroy my own marriage. I didn't hire a pie to stalk my son-in-law. I didn't try to blackmail someone into dropping a legitimate lawsuit. She did all of that. And somehow I'm the one who's supposed to fix it by letting her get away with it. My aunt showed up at my work today. She waited in the parking lot until my shift ended and cornered me by my car. She looked terrible, like she hadn't slept in days. "Your mother is falling apart," she said. "She can't afford a lawyer for both the lawsuit and the criminal charges. She's going to lose everything. She should have thought about that before." Before what? Before she tried to protect her daughter's husband from a cheater? I didn't cheat. The photos were fake. You know this. But you were spending all that time with Derek. What was she supposed to think? That her daughter isn't a liar? That maybe she should ask before assuming? My aunt grabbed my arm. "You need to make this stop. Talk to your husband. Tell him to drop it. She's sick over this. She's talking about hurting herself." I pulled my arm away. "Then she needs professional help. Not for me to let her destroy my life without consequences. She's family. Family doesn't do what she did." My aunt started crying and I felt terrible but also angry because why am I the one who has to comfort everyone? Why do I have to manage my mother's emotions and my aunt's emotions and my grandmother's emotions while nobody asks how I'm doing? Nobody asks if I'm okay after my mother made pornographic images of me. Nobody asks if my husband is okay after being manipulated into filing for divorce. We're just supposed to absorb it and move on because she's family, and she's sorry. I got in my car and left my aunt in the parking lot. She called me 15 times on my drive home. I didn't answer. My husband comes home permanently in 3 months. His CO approved his transfer to a stateside position because of everything that happened. He'll be stationed 4 hours away from where we live now, which means I have to decide if I'm moving with him or staying here. Staying here means staying near my entire family who thinks I'm the villain in this story. Moving means starting over somewhere nobody knows what happened. I think I want to start over. But part of me feels like I'm running away. Like my mother wins if I have to leave my home and my job and everything I built here just to escape her chaos. She destroyed my marriage for 2 months and now she might destroy my entire life here too. The preliminary hearing for the criminal charges is in 3 weeks. My husband's lawyer says the lawsuit will probably settle before trial once my mother sees how much the legal fees are going to cost her. But she also said my mother seems like the type to take it all the way to court just to prove a point, even if it bankrupts her. I don't know what I want anymore. I wanted her to face consequences and she is, but watching it happen feels worse than I expected. Everyone acts like I'm supposed to feel guilty but I just feel tired. Is it wrong that I still want to move forward with everything even though it's tearing my family apart? My mother showed up at my workplace with a lawyer and tried to serve me with a cease and desist letter for defamation and harassment. I was in the middle of my shift when my manager told me someone was asking for me in the lobby. I walked out and found my mother standing there with a man in a suit holding a briefcase. She looked smaller than I remembered, like she'd lost weight, but her eyes had that wild look she gets when she's convinced she's right about something. "This is my attorney," she said before I could even speak. "He needs to give you something." The lawyer handed me an envelope. Inside was a letter demanding I stop spreading false information about her to law enforcement and the courts. It claimed I was engaged in a coordinated campaign of defamation by supporting my husband's lawsuit and giving statements to the police. It said if I didn't retract my statements and convince my husband to drop all legal action within 72 hours, she'd sue me for damages. "You're suing me now?" I asked. "You've left me no choice. You're trying to ruin my life. You created pornographic images of me and sent them to my husband." Her lawyer shifted uncomfortably. My mother's face went red. "I was protecting him from what I thought you were doing. That's not a crime. Actually it is. That's why you're being charged." Those charges are based on lies you told the police. I have witnesses who saw you with that man from the gym. I was acting on good faith. I looked at her lawyer. Is she paying you to say this stuff, or do you actually believe her? He cleared his throat. My client has the right to defend herself against false accusations. The images were AI generated. There's metadata proving it. She admitted to making them. Under duress, my mother cut in. You and your husband pressured me into saying things that weren't true. You manipulated me. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. My manager was watching from behind the desk and customers were staring, but I just stood there laughing because the absurdity of it was too much. My mother created fake evidence to destroy my marriage, and now she's claiming I manipulated her into admitting it. You need to leave, I said. Both of you. Not until you agree to stop this persecution. I'm not persecuting you. You're facing consequences for what you did. I'm your mother. You're supposed to protect me. You weren't acting like a mother when you made those images. She grabbed my wrist. Her fingers dug in hard enough to hurt. I will not let you destroy me over a misunderstanding. I will fight this with everything I have. If that means suing you, then that's what I'll do. I pulled my arm away. There were red marks where she'd gripped me. My manager was already walking over, phone in hand. I'm calling security, he said. My mother's lawyer put his hand on her shoulder. We should go. We've delivered the letter. I'm not leaving until she agrees to fix this. 2 security guards appeared from the back hallway. They're both big guys who work events on weekends. One of them recognized my mother from when she used to pick me up from work years ago. Ma'am, you need to leave the premises, he said. I'm her mother. I have a right to talk to her. Not on private property, you don't. She tried to push past them to get to me. It took both guards to escort her out while she screamed about how I was ungrateful and cruel and turning everyone against her. Her lawyer followed behind, looking like he regretted taking her case. Customers were recording on their phones. My manager pulled me into the back office. What the hell was that about? He asked. I told him everything. The whole story from the beginning. He sat there with his mouth open. Your mom made fake porn of you? Yes. And now she's trying to sue you for telling people about it? Apparently. He shook his head. Take the rest of the day off. I'll handle your tables. I went home and called my husband. He was in a meeting but called me back within 20 minutes. She served you with what? I read him the letter. He was quiet for a long time. This is insane, he finally said. She commits fraud and now she's threatening to sue you for reporting it? Her lawyer seems to think she has a case. Her lawyer is either an idiot or desperate for billable hours. Forward everything to my attorney. She'll handle it. I sent the photos of the letter and told him about the scene at my work. He called his lawyer immediately. She called me an hour later and said my mother's cease and desist was legally meaningless and probably just a scare tactic. She said my mother's attorney was listed as a general practice lawyer from 2 towns over who mostly does real estate closings. He's not qualified for this kind of case, she said. Which means either he doesn't know what he's doing or your mother couldn't find anyone else willing to represent her. So I don't have to do anything? Ignore it completely. If she actually files a lawsuit, we'll deal with it then. But this letter has no legal weight. I felt relieved until my phone started blowing up an hour later. Someone at my work had posted a video of my mother being escorted out by security. It was already on Facebook with 200 shares. Then it got cross-posted to a local community group with 12,000 members. People were commenting asking what happened and why this woman was screaming about her daughter. My aunt called me screaming. Do you see what you've done? Your mother is a laughingstock. Everyone in town is watching her get dragged out of your workplace. I didn't post the video. You caused the scene that got recorded. She caused the scene by showing up at my job with a lawyer. She was trying to resolve this privately. Serving me legal papers at work isn't private. My aunt hung up on me. Then my grandmother called. Then 2 cousins I haven't spoken to in 5 years. They all said the same thing. I was humiliating my mother publicly. I was being vindictive. I needed to make this stop before she became a viral video. But I didn't make her show up at my workplace. I didn't make her grab my wrist. I didn't make her scream in front of customers. She did all of that herself. The video hit 500 shares by evening. Someone identified my mother in the comments and tagged her Facebook profile. People started commenting on her page asking if she was okay and what happened. She posted a long status about being attacked by her own daughter and falsely accused of crimes she didn't commit. She said I was mentally unstable and had turned my husband against her out of spite. 50 people commented with support. They called me terrible. They said mothers deserve respect no matter what. They said I should be ashamed. But then someone else commented with a link to the court records showing the charges against her. Public records showing she's being charged with fraud and attempted extortion. Another person found my husband's lawsuit filing and posted screenshots. It's all public information, but seeing it spread like that made my stomach turn. My mother deleted her Facebook account by midnight. But the video of her getting removed from my workplace is still circulating. Someone made a TikTok with it. It has 50,000 views. My husband called me this morning. I'm coming home early. Emergency leave approved. You don't have to do that. Yes, I do. This is getting out of control and you shouldn't deal with it alone. He'll be here in 4 days. His lawyer moved up the preliminary hearing to next week because my mother's attempt to serve me with legal threats counts as continued harassment. The prosecutor handling the criminal case is using the workplace incident as evidence that she's escalating instead of taking responsibility. My mother left me a voicemail last night. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. Something about how I've ruined her reputation and she can't show her face in town anymore and people are sending her hateful messages. She said I did this on purpose to punish her. But I didn't do anything except exist while she made increasingly terrible decisions. My father called this morning. Your mother tried to come to my house last night. She was hysterical. She wanted me to talk to you. What did you tell her? That she needs professional help and I can't get involved. Thank you, but I need to tell you something. She's not well. I don't mean that as an excuse. I mean she's genuinely unstable right now. Be careful. I don't know what to do with that warning. She's always been dramatic, but this feels different. More desperate. Am I wrong for not trying to de-escalate this even though it's clearly destroying her? My mother tried to break into my house while my husband was home on emergency leave. We were asleep when the alarm went off at 2 a.m. My husband was up instantly, years of military training kicking in before I even processed what was happening. He checked the security camera feed on his phone and I saw her on the screen, standing at our back door with something in her hand. She'd already broken the window next to the lock and was reaching through to unlock it from the inside. He called 911 while I just sat there frozen. I could hear her on the other side of the house, the door opening, her footsteps in the kitchen. My husband kept me in the bedroom and stood between me and the door with a baseball bat. His voice was completely calm when he spoke to the dispatcher, but I could see his hands shaking. There's an intruder in my home. My address is 447 Maple Street. I'm armed and will defend myself if necessary. My mother started calling my name from downstairs. I know you're here. We need to talk. You can't hide from me forever. The police arrived in 4 minutes. We heard them ordering her to get on the ground. She started screaming that this was her daughter's house and she had every right to be here. That we were keeping her grandbabies from her. We don't have children. We've never had children. When the officers brought her out in handcuffs, she was crying and begging them to let her explain. They found bolt cutters in her car. She'd planned this, brought tools, waited until the middle of the night when she thought we'd be most vulnerable. The arresting officer came back inside to take our statements. He looked exhausted. Is she on any medications? She seems confused about basic facts. I told him about everything. The AI, images, the lawsuit, the workplace incident, all of it. He wrote it all down. She's escalating, he said. Breaking and entering with tools shows premeditation. The state's attorney is going to want to add this to her existing charges. My husband barely said anything during the whole thing. Just held my hand and answered questions when asked. But after the police left, he sat on the couch and put his head in his hands. I thought someone was coming to hurt you, he said quietly. When I saw the camera feed, I thought it was an intruder and I was ready to. He didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. My mother was released on bail 8 hours later. My aunt posted it. She called me immediately after. Are you satisfied now? She's being charged with breaking and entering. She could go to prison. She broke into my house in the middle of the night. Because you won't talk to her. You've pushed her to this. I didn't push her to commit crimes. She's having a breakdown. Can't you see that? She needs help, not jail. Then get her help. Check her into a hospital. Get her a therapist. But don't blame me for her choices. My aunt hung up. An hour later, my grandmother called. Then my uncle. Then cousins I'd forgotten existed. They all said variations of the same thing. I was cruel for pressing charges. I was vindictive for not dropping everything. I was destroying my mother's life over a mistake. But she didn't make a mistake. She made dozens of deliberate choices. Each one worse than the last. My husband's lawyer called that afternoon. The prosecutor wants to offer your mother a plea deal. She pleads guilty to the fraud and attempted extortion charges, drops any civil action against you, agrees to mandatory psychiatric evaluation and treatment, and she'll get 2 years probation with possible jail time if she violates the terms. What about the breaking and entering? That gets folded into the probation terms as a separate count. If she violates probation, she serves time for all of it. And if she doesn't take the deal, then everything goes to trial. The fraud case is strong. We have the metadata, her app purchase history, her admission on record. The extortion attempt is documented. And now there's breaking and entering with premeditation. She's looking at serious jail time if convicted on all counts. How much time? 3 to 5 years minimum if the judge runs the sentences consecutively. I asked what my husband wanted to do. He said it was my choice since she's my mother. But I could tell what he thought. He wants her to face real consequences. He wants her to understand that what she did has permanent repercussions. My mother's lawyer called me directly 2 days later. He sounded desperate. Your mother can't afford to go to trial. She's already spent everything she has on legal fees. If this goes forward, she loses her house, her retirement, everything. She should take the plea deal then. She won't agree to the psychiatric evaluation. She says there's nothing wrong with her. Then that's her choice. Please. I'm asking you as someone who's seen a lot of families destroy themselves over legal battles. Is this really what you want? Your mother in prison? I thought about it for a long time after I hung up. Do I want my mother in prison? No, but I also didn't want fake pornographic images of myself sent to my husband. I didn't want my marriage destroyed. I didn't want to be blackmailed. I didn't want my house broken into in the middle of the night. She forced every single one of these consequences through her own actions. The preliminary hearing is tomorrow. My husband and I are both testifying. His lawyer says my mother will probably take the plea deal at the last minute once she sees we're serious about going through with this. But she also said some people would rather burn everything down than admit they were wrong. My father called me last night. I heard about the break-in. Are you okay? Physically, yes. Your mother came to see me yesterday. She wanted me to testify as a character witness if this goes to trial. What did you say? I said no. I told her I divorced her 10 years ago specifically because she couldn't accept responsibility for anything. That hasn't changed. She's telling everyone I'm destroying her. You're not destroying her. She's destroying herself and blaming you for not stopping her. That's what she's always done. After we hung up, I sat in my car in the driveway for an hour. My husband came out eventually and just sat with me. He didn't ask what I was thinking. Didn't try to tell me what to do. Just sat there while I cried. I keep waiting to feel guilty, but I just feel exhausted. Everyone wants me to be the one to fix this. To make it stop. To sacrifice my peace and safety so my mother doesn't have to face what she's done. But I can't do that anymore. The hearing is at 9 a.m. tomorrow. My husband's lawyer says it will probably last 2 hours unless my mother does something unexpected. Which, given everything that's happened, seems entirely possible. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if she'll take the deal or force this to trial. I don't know if my family will ever speak to me again either way. All I know is that I'm done protecting her from herself. Is it wrong that part of me hopes she doesn't take the deal so this can finally be over one way or another? My mother was sentenced to 18 months in prison yesterday and I watched the whole thing happen. She rejected the plea deal. Her lawyer spent 40 minutes trying to convince her to take it before the hearing started, but she refused. She kept saying she wouldn't admit to crimes she didn't commit, that she was protecting her family, that we were all conspiring against her. Her lawyer looked like he wanted to quit right there in the courtroom. The prosecutor laid out everything. The AI generated images with full metadata showing creation dates and times. The app subscription she paid for. Text messages where she described which poses looked most convincing. Her own written statement to my husband detailing exactly when and where she supposedly caught me cheating. The blackmail attempt with the coffee shop photos. The break-in with bolt cutters found in her car. My mother's lawyer tried to argue diminished capacity. Said she was having a mental health crisis and didn't understand what she was doing. The prosecutor pulled up her bank records showing she'd researched AI image generators for 3 weeks before subscribing. Printed emails where she'd asked the app's customer service how to make images look more realistic. She'd planned everything methodically. When my husband testified, my mother started crying. Not quiet tears, loud sobbing that echoed through the courtroom. The judge had to pause twice and ask if she needed a moment. She kept shaking her head and saying, "I'm sorry," over and over, but only when my husband was speaking. When I got up to testify, she went completely silent and just stared at me. I had to describe finding out about the divorce papers. The 2 months of silence. Seeing the fake images for the first time during the legal discovery. My husband's lawyer showed the photos in court and I had to look at them while explaining how I knew they were fake. My mother's face in those images, determined and righteous as she supposedly confronted me. My bedroom, my sheets, my life violated and recreated to destroy everything I built. The judge asked my mother if she wanted to make a statement before sentencing. She stood up and looked right at me. "I was trying to save him from you," she said. "I still think I saw something that day. Maybe it wasn't what I thought, but I know you were hiding something." A mother knows. Her own lawyer put his head in his hands. The judge sentenced her to 18 months for fraud and attempted extortion, with additional charges for the breaking and entering filed separately. She'll serve at least 14 months before parole eligibility. She has to pay $43,000 in restitution to my husband for legal fees and documented therapy costs. The civil lawsuit is settled with her admitting fault in writing and agreeing to have no contact with either of us for 5 years after her release. She's also required to complete psychiatric treatment as a condition of parole. If she refuses, she serves the full sentence plus additional time for the break-in charge. My family left the courtroom without speaking to me. My aunt was crying. My grandmother looked like she'd aged 10 years. My cousin mouthed, "I hope you're happy," as she walked past. But I'm not happy, I'm just empty. My husband held my hand the entire drive home. We didn't talk. What is there to say? His mother-in-law is going to prison for trying to destroy our marriage with fake evidence. We won, I guess. Justice was served. The villain faced consequences. It doesn't feel like winning. My mother will be in a minimum security facility 3 hours away. My aunt already called asking if I'll visit. I said no. She called me heartless and hung up. My father texted me later saying he's proud of me for following through but sorry it came to this. He's the only family member who's spoken to me without anger. Work has been awkward. Everyone saw the viral video of my mother being removed by security. Then the local news covered the sentencing because of the unusual nature of the crime. Woman uses AI to frame daughter for adultery, made headlines. My coworkers don't know what to say to me, so they just avoid me entirely. My husband got transferred to a base in another state. We're moving in 2 weeks. He asked if I wanted to stay and I said no immediately. There's nothing left for me here. Every street corner has a memory of my mother. Every store, every restaurant, every park. I can't drive past her house without feeling sick. She'll lose the house while she's in prison. Can't make mortgage payments from jail. My aunt is trying to organize the family to cover it, but nobody has that kind of money. It'll go into foreclosure within 6 months. Everything she worked for, gone. I should feel vindicated. She destroyed my peace, so now hers is destroyed. Fair is fair, but I keep thinking about the mother she used to be. The one who taught me to ride a bike and stayed up all night when I had the flu and defended me against my 3rd grade teacher who said I'd never be good at math. That person is gone, replaced by someone I don't recognize. Someone who looked at her daughter and saw an enemy. When did that happen? When did I become someone she needed to destroy? My husband caught me crying in the shower yesterday. He didn't ask why, just stood there with me until the water ran cold. He's been having nightmares again. Dreams where the photos were real and he comes home to find me with someone else. He wakes up shaking and has to check that I'm still there beside him. My mother did that to him. She put that permanent doubt in his mind. We start marriage counseling next week at the new base. The therapist specializes in trauma recovery. We're both broken in different ways and we have to figure out how to fix it together. I got a letter from my mother's facility yesterday. She's allowed to send mail. It was 3 pages long. Most of it was her explaining again why she did what she did, how she was trying to protect everyone, how she never meant for things to go this far. But at the very end she wrote, "I know you won't forgive me. I'm not asking you to. I just need you to know that I loved you, even when I did this." I thought I was helping. I burned the letter in the kitchen sink. My husband asked if I regretted pressing charges. If I wish I'd just let it go like my family wanted. I thought about it for a long time before answering. No, I said. She needed to face what she did. Not for me, for herself. She'll never change if everyone keeps protecting her from consequences. Do you think she'll change now? I don't know. I don't think I care anymore. We're packing up the house this weekend. Starting over somewhere nobody knows our story. Somewhere I can go to the grocery store without wondering if people recognize me from the news. My husband says it'll be good for us. A fresh start. I want to believe him. Sometimes I imagine what would have happened if she'd just talked to me. If she'd said, "I saw you with someone and I'm worried," instead of creating fake evidence and sending it to my husband. We would have laughed about it. I would have introduced her to Derek's husband. We'd still have a relationship. But she chose the nuclear option first. Destroyed everything without asking a single question. That's what I can't forgive. Not the mistake. The choice. Moving day is in 12 days. Then I'll never see this town again. Never drive past my mother's house or my old workplace or any of the places where my family gathered to tell me I was wrong for wanting accountability. My husband asked if I'll regret cutting everyone off. All I know is that every single one of them chose her side. Chose to defend someone who committed fraud and broke into our house rather than accept that she was wrong. That tells me everything I need to know about where I stand with them. Maybe someday I'll feel differently. Maybe someday the anger will fade and I'll miss my family enough to reach out. Today is not that day.